So a little while back I made these shorts as a part of my 5 sewing projects for beginners video, and I had some leftover fabric, so I thought, do you know what would be really cute? If I made a matching bucket hat. So that's what I did. If you want to have a go at this one for yourself, I've put together a sewing pattern that you can get for free in the link in the description. All you'll need for this project is 1/2 meter of fabric and thread to match. Start by cutting out all of the pattern pieces according to the directions, making sure to clip the notches where indicated. In this case, you'll need 1 top piece, 2 side pieces, and 4 brim pieces. If you're using a thinner fabric, it would also be a good idea to cut out a piece of interfacing for each piece of fabric. Now we need to take 2 of the brim pieces and pin together by the short edges, right sides facing. Repeat with the 2 remaining brim pieces. Now taking the 2 side pieces, pin short edges together in the same way, right sides facing. We'll be sewing along each of the 6 pinned short edges using a simple straight stitch and a seam allowance of 1.5 centimeters, back stitching at the start and the end. Once all the short edges have been sewn, take just the hat sides piece and finish the seams with an overlocker or a zigzag stitch. Press open the raw seams of the 2 brim pieces. And press down the finished seams of the hat sides piece towards the back of the hat. Now taking the hat sides piece, we're going to top stitch over the finished edges we just pressed down, close to the seam on each side. Now take the 2 brim pieces and place one inside the other, right sides facing. We'll be pinning all along the outer edge, which is the wider edge, starting by matching the seams, then the notches, and then pinning the rest of the way around. Now we need to sew all the way around the pinned edge using a straight stitch and a 1.5 centimeter seam allowance, back stitching at the end. Trim the edges and then turn so that the right sides are facing out and press all the way around the edge. We will now be top stitching all around the outer edge of the brim, about 1 centimeter from the edge, back stitching at the end. Now taking the hat sides piece, at the top, which is the narrower part, mark out where each of the 2 notches are with a pin, as we will be clipping notches all around the top edge and need to remember where our original notches were. Clip small notches about 1/2 centimeter in length all around the top edge at roughly 1 to 2 centimeter intervals. This will make it much easier to align and attach the top piece to the sides. Now taking the hat top piece, align and pin each double notch to each seam of the hat sides piece, right sides facing. Now align each single notch with the notches we marked out with a pin earlier. From there, carefully align and pin around the remainder of the hat top piece to the hat sides. You know the saying less is more? Well, it's definitely not the case in this instance. The more pins you add, the easier it will be to keep the fabric in place as you sew. It will also help if you place the pins perpendicular to the edge, as you can sew straight over them without removing them as you go. Once pinned, we will be carefully sewing all around the top hat piece using a straight stitch and a 1.5cm seam allowance, back stitching at the end. Finish the seam you just sewed using an overlocker or zigzag stitch. Now press open the seams with the finished edge pointing down towards the hat sides, and we'll be top stitching over the pressed seam close to the edge, back stitching at the end. Taking the hat brim piece, mark each centre notch with a pin, as we'll be clipping notches all the way around the raw edges through both layers of fabric in the same way we did with the hat sides. Now with right sides facing, we'll be pinning together the hat sides and brim, starting by aligning and pinning each of the seams. And each of the notches on the hat sides with the notches we marked with pins on the brim. From there, we'll be going in carefully aligning and pinning around the remainder of the edge. Once again, less is not more in this case, and it helps if you point your pins outward so that you can leave them in while you sew. We'll be sewing slowly and carefully along the pinned edge using a straight stitch and a 1.5cm seam allowance, back stitching at the end. Finish your seam with an overlocker or zigzag. Give one final press with the finished edge pointing up towards the top of the hat. If you have a tag you would like to add, now's a good time to pin it into place. I nestled mine into the finished edge of the brim in order to hide the raw edges. Finally, we'll be top stitching over the pressed seam close to the edge and back stitching at the end. And now we have a finished bucket hat. There you go, I hope you enjoyed that one, and if you want to see more DIY and sewing videos like this, then don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching!